Hello, everyone, and welcome to the More Than Just a Wedding podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Starr, and the owner of the J Star Wedding Company. Okay, so thank you for continuing to be on this podcasting journey with me. More recently, we have added the video component to the podcast, which has been a huge learning curve. And every time I go to do this, we are faced with new challenges and just the desire to make it better and better. So today, because I'm doing a solo podcast and doing video, I'm going to allow myself, I spent a lot of time writing today's content, and it's something I feel very passionate about, but not necessarily something I have memorized. So I'm going to give myself permission today. You may see me reading my script a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay, because this information is so valuable and so important. I need you to know it, despite how silly I may look from time to time. All right, so let's dig in. Today's topic is the wedding industry truths no one necessarily talks about. So I've realized there's something that happens to your brain when you've been working in a particular industry for a very long time. And that is that it's nearly impossible for you to take it back to a blank slate. So I have to try very intentionally to try to get into the minds of couples entering this stage of their lives for the first time. Because when you have layers and layers of years and experience, if it feels it just feels quote unquote normal, right? To anyone that's been giving a lot to a particular industry or field. Um, But today I'm really challenging myself to try to rewind myself back to that blank slate of really not knowing what to expect when entering planning a wedding. And I want to share everything that I can that I think will help you. So, the biggest thing is that when couples start planning their weddings, there's a huge difference between what they expect and what actually happens. And I think one of the first hurdles is really understanding the financial investment and all the additional expensive puzzle pieces that go into that. Everyone enters wedding planning with an idea of what they think a wedding will cost. And I don't know where they necessarily get this information. It could have been a friend shared them their wedding, about, what their wedding budget was. It could be their parents remembering approximately what they spent on their wedding and assuming, okay, maybe it's gone up a little bit from there. It could be, Google searches. But until you actually tap into the industry and particularly the location of where you're planning this wedding, that's going to be where all those real numbers lie. And you need to know what they are before you start making big decisions. So that's probably the first big piece of awareness I want you to have. The second one is, just acknowledging that we live in a very fast paced digital world and we have information flashing across our screens all day, every day. And I think that it's easy to assume, particularly with the weddings, that these beautiful photos that you're seeing is the norm. And that's not always true. A lot of times you're seeing incredibly, incredibly expensive weddings. Those are the ones that may go viral, and you'll see, the ballrooms dripping with chandelier florals everywhere. Or you may be looking at a styled shoot that wasn't even a real wedding. And with that, there's a lot of staging involved. So it's easy to assume that things are the quote unquote norm when they aren't. So I want to take you through some of these truths today to really just help guide you and help you understand the mindset that I think is going to make this a little bit easier on you. Okay, truth number one: more options equal better decisions. They do not. There are endless endless amounts of options when it comes to wedding planning, from the venues to the florals to the photography to the wedding gowns to hair and makeup, so many things. And a lot of times our couples are excited about planning and they start exploring all of this at once. But I'm here to tell you there is an actual puzzle that we need to put together. And the order of how you put those pieces in is going to help you with that overwhelm and that decision making. Biggest piece of advice I can get you, and you'll hear me say this time and time again, is you have to know your desired budget for your wedding, because that is immediately going to eliminate potentially a lot of options for you. And just like anything, I think when you look at something and there's so many options, like I can't think of a better example, but the thing that came into mind is like, I don't know if you've ever gone to one of the really luxurious buffets in Las Vegas. And they have these amazing dessert bars where literally any and every dessert you could ever imagine is there available to you. And I don't know about you, but when I look at something like that, all of a sudden nothing stands out to me as being special. It all starts to look kind of the same. And that's also the case if you oversaturate yourself with options in the wedding world. So it's really important to pay attention to, again, your preferred pricing range, and then look at the preferred vendors list that your venue gives you, that your planners give you. Maybe other vendors have preferred partners on their websites. Those are important to look at. Next is Pinterest. This is the truth. Yes, Pinterest can sabotage your planning. Again, you don't need all that information in your face all of the time. And I highly recommend when you get to a certain part of your planning, you need to shut all those ideas off because it's going to mess with you. You're going to overthink and rethink what you're doing. And chances are the decisions that you've already made are perfect. So let them continue to be part of your story. Trends. Here's the thing with trends. You do have to be cautious about them because they age. And I want to be sensitive to this because it's okay to like something that's trending. I think if you really like it, of course you should do it. But what I don't want you to feel is pressure to do it because you're going to see a lot of trends through your planning. And we that have been in the industry for a long time, we can usually look at portfolios and see a trend, spot it, and be able to sort of timestamp when that wedding took place. And that's okay. That's just a fun game we play with ourselves. If you like it, you like it. But I want to make sure that if you like it, it does feel representative to you as a person and you as a couple. You don't have to do something just because everyone else is doing it. If you want your wedding to continue to feel classic over time, you really want to choose elements that again speak to you. If you look around your home, you'll chances are you'll see consistency in colors that you like or styles that you like. If you look at your wardrobe, same thing. So it's really about kind of taking your natural aesthetic and your partner's natural aesthetic and trying to kind of fuse that together and enhance it in any way that you can. And obviously, anytime you make classic decisions such as clean lines, neutral tones, I mean, always love a black and white wedding. Um, and choose florals that have been beautiful over decades, not just one trend that's happening there. I will mention one trend because I think it's past and I liked it, but there was a time period where pampas grass was being used constantly. And I still love the look of it, but it's incredibly messy. And what we've also found is it's rather flammable. So that's what I'm talking about. When you see repeated trends over time, sometimes you just want to go for the classic, beautiful, florals and colors that they never go out of style. Okay, here's another truth that I feel like when I was planning my wedding, I don't know that I would have wanted to hear this advice. But now that I've gained a little wisdom here, I'm going to be celebrating my 20-year wedding anniversary soon. And I've experienced firsthand multiple times at weddings that I've been a part of. I need you to know this, that guest experience matters more than the visual perfection. It's painful to say it, but I know that it's true, so I have to say it. What I mean by that is at the end of the day, your guests aren't necessarily going to remember the linen colors or patterns or the upgraded plateware or glassware. They're going to remember how your wedding day made them feel. So, a big one is guest comfortability. In Arizona, we are known for what we call our al fresco dining experiences, meaning we have pretty great weather here other than the heat, that a lot of times our destination couples come here so that they can have this beautiful outdoor dining experience, and it is exquisite. It really is, especially paired with those Arizona sunsets. There's something so magical about that. But, my friends, if all of your guests are coming from back east and it is over 100 degrees, they're not going to see the beauty in that dining experience. All they're going to talk about and remember is how hot they were for a fairly significant duration of time. So, you do need to really consider guest comfortability when it comes to weather, when it comes to the venue itself and the flow of how the event is structured. It's nice if it feels rather seamless and you don't want your guests having to travel too far between spots or having to go up and down multiple stairs and so forth. We want to try to keep it as comfortable as possible. And I think the other thing that is a little underestimated is the communication piece with your guests. Communication is everything. I mean, it's literally how we run this world. But when it comes to weddings, you do want to make sure that everything is as clearly communicated as possible. That's going to be through your website, that is going to be through your invitation. Also, sometimes our couples, if they're having a multi day event, doing an itinerary that you hand out at your welcome dinner is very appreciated. It's really about over communicating to your guests. And even on the wedding day itself, I am a big fan of signage because I think it's kind of a silent voice that carries your guests throughout the events. So, as simple as this is our guest book table. This is our gift table. Here's our signature drinks. Here's what they are. Here's what the options are. Here's our late night bites. Here's our welcome sign. And a big one is guests love seeing their names. So if you do an escort card display or place cards or menus, their names, make their names visible because people love seeing their names. It makes them feel a part of something special. So, and the other thing, and I think the couples we tend to attract love bringing in experience driven events, whether it's the beer burrow or it's um, the cannoli. Forgive me, I need to take a sip of water. There's this really great guy right now. He's called the cannoli guy, where he has this apparatus where he walks around at a wedding and makes cannolis in front of everyone. And it's just so amazing. Or fireworks. I mean, anything that offers a wow to the experience is what guests remember. Comfort and unexpectedness is what creates joy, and it's what your guests will remember. Okay, truth number 5, your planner should feel like a partner and not a salesperson. Very passionate about this. You should feel heard. You should feel seen. Your partner should be a true partner to you. It's not about an ulterior motive that they have to make your wedding look something beautiful that they can be proud of. The intention should be that they're making the wedding that you will be proud of, that's representative of you and your partner, not what your planner currently thinks is the latest, greatest color palette and floral concept. I'm so passionate about that. because I never want a couple to feel just overpowered by a planner. That's not the way it should be. It should be the planner's there to professionally guide you and sure, absolutely help you enhance everything. But it shouldn't be what they want. It needs to be what you want. And your planner and you should be able to talk very openly and transparently about the cost. And it's their role and it's their responsibility to really guide you in making sure that you're making proper choices based on what your financial goals are. I would cringe if I ever heard a planner say, "Oh, well, that's just the way things cost. Yep, weddings are expensive," or "No, you have to spend that to make that happen." No, there's always other options. I want them to be forthcoming and honest, obviously, but never in a way that feels pushy. Couples should feel a true sense of connection with their planner. I fear that at times couples do choose planning companies based on aesthetics alone. And yes, of course, having a beautiful wedding matters, but so does feeling comfortable during the planning process and feeling like you're working with someone that you can truly trust. You should be able to ask your planner anything and you should feel safe and supported and understood. And that's where that magic really happens. As always, I want to remind you the name of this podcast is More Than Just a Wedding. And I love talking about just the reality of the wedding planning experience. I want you to know that your voice matters and the decisions that you make matter because this is more than just a wedding. This is a reflection of your love story and one that you're going to reflect on for many, many years to come. Thank you so much for listening or watching today. As always, if you found today's information helpful, I invite you to follow the podcast, connect with me on Instagram, or connect with me via email through our website. Thank you so much.